Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are tackling a tough one, a really essential one. We're taking a deep dive into toxic relationships. And that could be anything, right? Romantic, friendships, even family dynamics. The mission today is to give you a clear roadmap to help you see if a relationship is actually supporting you or if it's causing harm.
Yeah, and it's such a necessary conversation because these things, they don't always look bad from the outside. Not at all. Sometimes they're masked by what looks like, intense passion or history. So we have to get the tools to see the difference between just normal conflict and something much more damaging.
Exactly. We're going to be forensic about it. We're looking for the specific red flags, those warning signs, and then the practical steps for self-preservation. We want you to walk away from this knowing how to spot control and, crucially, how to start protecting yourself.
I think a good way to frame it is with an analogy. A healthy relationship, it's like a plant. It needs sunlight, water, space. It helps you grow, you feel good. A toxic relationship is like that same plant, but it's stuck in a dark room. It just feels heavy, it drains you. You end up feeling tired or confused pretty much all the time.
That makes perfect sense. It's about the feeling. But here's the big question, the one that always comes up. All relationships have conflict. Fights happen. So how do you tell the difference between a normal disagreement and a fight that's actually part of a toxic pattern?
That is the absolute key distinction. Conflict is normal. It has to happen. In a healthy relationship, you fight to solve a problem. You're a team, even when you disagree. But in a toxic one, the fight is almost never about the actual problem. It's about power. It's about control.
So it's not what you're arguing about, it's the outcome of the argument.
Precisely. After a healthy fight, you feel like you've moved forward. Maybe it was hard, but you reached a solution. After a toxic fight, you just feel smaller. You feel unheard. And often, and this is so important, you feel like it was all your fault. If you consistently leave a conversation feeling diminished, that is a huge, huge warning signal.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's get into those specific red flags, the early warning signs that show up, way before things get really bad. Where do we start?
We start with the most confusing one, the one that feels amazing at first. It's called love bombing.
Love bombing. That just sounds...
all right.
It sounds like the start of a movie. How can something that's about tons of attention and compliments be a bad thing?
And that is exactly why it's such an effective trap. Love bombing is this overwhelming amount of attention, gifts, compliments, but it happens very fast. We're talking, I love you after 3 days, or wanting to move in after a couple of weeks. The speed is completely out of proportion.
But hold on, couldn't that just be, two people who are just really, really into each other? A whirlwind romance?
It could be, but here's the difference. The pace is the problem. Healthy passion still respects boundaries. Love bombing doesn't. Its purpose is to overwhelm you emotionally, to get you hooked so fast that you don't have time to see the flaws. It's a strategy.
So it's like a sales pitch. A very intense sales pitch.
Absolutely. And once they feel like they have you, once you're invested, the bombing suddenly stops. And that's when the control and the criticisms start. A good rule of thumb is, if the relationship feels like a high-speed train and you feel like you can't get off, that's a red flag.
Okay, that's a really clear and scary image. So once they've used that to get a foothold, what's next? What's the next flag?
The next one is isolation. And this one is so insidious because it happens really slowly. It's the gradual process of pulling you away from your support system, your friends, your family.
They disguise it as love, right? Things like, I just want to spend all my time with you.
Exactly. They'll say things like, your best friend doesn't really get you, not like I do, or why go see your parents? I thought we had plans. Don't you want to be with me? They frame it so that anyone else in your life is a threat to your connection with them.
And the goal there is pretty devastating.
The goal is to cut your lifelines. Because when you're isolated, you're easier to control. They become your only source for everything. For validation, for happiness, for information. You lose your reality check.
And with no reality check, you're vulnerable to the next stage, which brings us to gaslighting. It's a term we all hear, but I think we need a really simple, clear definition.
Gaslighting is, at its core, a form of manipulation designed to make you doubt your own mind, your own memory, your reality, even your sanity.
So it's more than just them saying, that never happened, or you're imagining things.
Oh, much more. It's also minimizing your feelings. If you say, that hurt me, they'll respond with, you're too sensitive, or you're overreacting. They twist things so completely that you start to believe that your perception of reality is wrong.
And the result of that is the feeling you mentioned before, that feeling of walking on eggshells.
It is the absolute defining effect. You start apologizing for things you didn't even do. You become afraid to say anything because you're just trying to avoid the next explosion or the next round of denial. Your world just shrinks.
That sounds completely exhausting.
Yeah.
And often a part of that is using silence as a weapon, isn't it?
Yes. The silent treatment, let's be very clear about this. Refusing to speak to someone for days on end as a punishment is not a coping mechanism. It is emotional abuse. It is designed to make you so desperate for connection that you'll do anything they want just to make it stop.
Wow. Every single one of these flags, love bombing, isolation, gaslighting, the silent treatment, it's like they're all
bricks in a wall.
a wall of control.
Exactly. A wall of control. And one final brick to add here is extreme jealousy. We have to bust the myth that jealousy is a sign of love. It's not. It's a sign of deep insecurity and a total lack of trust.
But people say that all the time. Oh, he's just protective because he loves me so much. How do you tell the difference?
Healthy protectiveness is about safety. Controlling jealousy is about ownership. It looks like checking your phone, demanding your passwords, getting angry if you talk to a coworker. It's not about protecting you, it's about controlling you. True love is based on freedom and trust, not surveillance.
Okay. So we've laid out the architecture of this dynamic.
Yeah.
Now comes the hard part. For anyone listening who's been nodding along who recognizes this pattern, we have to move from recognition to action. What is the very first step for self-preservation, especially if you're feeling completely drained?
The first step has to be reconnecting with self. Because in a toxic dynamic, you lose pieces of yourself. You stop doing hobbies, seeing people. So you have to start carving out tiny pockets of time and space that are just for you.
Okay, so give us a micro action. What does start small actually look like?
It looks like going for a walk by yourself and listening to your favorite music, not theirs. Or calling a friend you haven't talked to in 6 months and just talking. It's about slowly, deliberately rebuilding the world that exists outside of that one person. It reminds you that you exist outside of them.
But it makes your world bigger again. That makes sense. Okay, once you have a little bit of that space back, what's next? I'm guessing boundaries.
Boundaries. And this is the hardest part for many people. You have to remember, a boundary isn't about controlling them. It's about stating what you will and will not accept. And you have to say it calmly and clearly.
Can you give an example? Like, what's the actual language you would use?
It could be something like, I will not continue this conversation if you are shouting at me. Or, I need Saturday mornings for myself. I will be turning my phone off during that time. See how it's about your actions. I will, not you must.
Right. But the toxic person is just going to push back against that hard. So what's the secret to making it stick?
The secret is this. A boundary without a consequence is just a suggestion. If you say, I will leave the room if you shout, and they shout, you must leave the room. No arguing, no explaining, you just do it. That's how you teach yourself and them that your words have weight.
That takes so much strength.
Yeah.
Especially when you've been conditioned to just back down.
It does. And that leads right into step 3, which is you have to learn to trust your gut. A toxic relationship trains you to ignore your intuition, to second-guess yourself constantly. But your body knows. Your body has been keeping score. That tightness in your chest when their name pops up on your phone, that knot in your stomach, that is real information.
Why is that? Why does our body seem to know before our brain catches up?
Because your body's survival system is firing. It's your fight or flight response. It's picking up on a threat that your conscious mind is still trying to rationalize away. You have to start listening to that knot. It's telling you the truth.
So listen to your body.
Yeah.
And don't go through it alone.
Absolutely not. That's step 4. Seeking professional help. A therapist, a support group. It's vital because it gives you an outside perspective. It counters the lie that you're the crazy one or that no one will understand.
Okay, and for someone who is in a situation where they are maybe financially dependent or they're actually afraid to leave, what does self-preservation look like then?
In those cases, it becomes very practical. It's about safety planning, and this means literally having a bag packed with essentials, clothes, medication, phone numbers, and leaving it at a trusted friend's house.
And what about important documents?
Critical. Passports, IDs, birth certificates. You need to get them somewhere safe where the other person can't find or control them. And have a code word. A simple text you can send to a friend that means I need help right now without having to explain. This is about prioritizing your physical safety above everything else.
That is incredibly powerful, practical advice. As we start to wrap up, I want to talk about the after. Because even after leaving, there's often this intense guilt or loneliness, and people miss the person.
That is completely normal. But you have to be really honest about what you're missing. You're not usually missing the actual person who hurt you. You're missing the idea of them. You're missing that fairy tale version from the love bombing phase. You have to remember the whole picture.
So what do you hold on to during that recovery process, which can be so long and painful?
You hold on to this motto: healing isn't a straight line. There will be good days. There will be really, really bad days where you doubt everything. And that's okay. Both are part of the process. You just have to be kind to yourself.
So if you had to boil all of this down to one final core piece of advice for our listeners, what would it be?
It would be this: you deserve a relationship that feels like a safe harbor, not a stormy sea. It is not your job to fix another person. Your only job is to protect your own safety and your own happiness. And putting yourself first is not selfish. It is essential for survival.
A safe harbor, not a stormy sea. I love that. I think the final thought here is, if you feel like you are constantly walking on eggshells, maybe it's time to take those shoes off. It's time to find a different path, one where you can walk freely and your voice is heard. We've done our deep dive, and we really hope you use this knowledge to find that path.